Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Age of Quarantine. My name is Chris Enriquez. I am your host tonight. Thanks for spending your Thursday evening with us. Just want to mention that this has been a really exciting week, but after Sunday, we're going to take a break. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we're going to be inactive in lieu of all the political, well, what can you say? The nature of political events that are taking place. So we're going to observe that, and but we'll be back next week, a week from today, on Thursday. So, just wanted to let you guys know that the show isn't going away. It's just a temporary thing while we try to observe the important things going on in the world. That being said, this Sunday we have Sonny from Necrot on the show, and then when we resume next week, we'll have the legendary Mike Gitter, who started the first hardcore fanzine in America, Triple X fanzine. That'll be a great way to kind of get back into the swing of things, being that the early punk and hardcore movement kind of reaction to the Reagan administration. So, regardless of the outcome, it'll be a cool talk to chat with him about what it was like back in the day, fast forward to now, because we need the community, the heavy music community, more than ever right now. As you can hear, I'm listening to some music in the background. This is one of my favorite bands in Brooklyn. In general, though, in the metal space, they're just doing something so unique and different. Sure, they blend a lot of things that are very familiar, but at the same point in time, their twist on their brand of doom or sludge or whatever you want to call it is incredibly unique. The band is called Somnuri. I've known these guys individually from different bands, which we'll get into. The drummer Phil, I first found out about him because he was in a band called Family on Prosthetic Records. And Justin, I first became familiar with. He was in a band called Blackout, playing bass. And Philippe played bass in a band called Tower with my friend Sarah Beth. So they have kind of deep roots in the metal scene here in Brooklyn. And they come together as Somnuri, which is just a force to be reckoned with. I saw them live a few times. They opened up for my band Spotlights at St. Vitus, and it blew my mind what they were doing on stage with three people playing that kind of music. And I can't say enough good things about them. They have an album out right now that you could get on streaming online. Go on Spotify. They also did a cover of Alice in Chains' Dirt, which is up on there, which is amazing. Check that out. And they were featured on Metal Injection's Slay at Home Fest last Friday, which is also available streaming online, where they performed two songs from their first record. I am going to get them on the screen. We're going to have some fun chatting with them for the next hour or so. And if you're enjoying yourself and want to ask questions, feel free. We'll try to get to them. Otherwise, we're just going to kind of indulge ourselves here. Since St. Vitus is a Brooklyn metal venue, why not talk to a Brooklyn metal band? Makes sense. All right. We're going to let the internet kind of do its thing and work its magic, and we'll have the boys on screen shortly. Thanks for watching, everybody. What's up, Nikki? How you doing, brother? See some familiar faces out there. Love that. All right. We're just waiting for the signal here to kind of do its thing. We're just waiting for them to join. But yeah, in the meantime, again, we want to support all different types of bands. So, hey, look who it is.
Chris, what's happening?
What's up, my friend? How you doing?
Lovely, yourself?
I'm great, man. Even better that you're here now. I see we got Justin from Somnuri on the screen. I think you're over there with Phil and Philippe. We got all the boys there. What's up, boys?
Oh, what's up, dude?
All right, we're on the St. Vitus Instagram channel on Age of Quarantine, guys. It's always a little awkward when I'm interviewing people that I know, but it'll make it even that much more fun. Have you guys been managing to get through this crazy time? I figured we'll start there.
Are we through it?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it took us a while to get going. I think we all took, 3 months before we saw each other to be like, hey, can we play music together? Can we meet up? Can we do something?
Right.
And me personally, I never stopped working. I'm a bike messenger and going through it, taking every day by day, and wearing a mask, washing hands, washing clothes, shredding at home,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
brutal.
that's yeah, yeah. You want
Almost
to
as
mention
brutal as your
something?
guys' music.
I work from home, so it's it's kind of cool, but at the same time, I like going out and being a real person too, and not just a hermit. So,
Yeah,
and obviously playing shows, going to shows, all of it. So, getting through it as best we can. Feels good to jam again, for sure.
yeah. And you work with a music company. People are still buying instruments, at least, right? There, people need to play music during this tough time.
Tons of people are buying music equipment, and so that side of things is cool. I'm lucky to have a job right now and feel for people who don't, and um, feels good to get people gear while they're unable to play shows, and they can still record at home and make music. So I'm gonna pass it to
Yeah,
Philippe.
yeah, absolutely. Where's Philippe
Yeah,
at? There
dude.
he is.
Yeah, dude. It's a fun little setup we got going on in here. Just trying to figure out like the best way to get all of us in frame. So we're just passing the phone around,
Hey, it's cool, man. I like this.
Yeah. So the first 3 months I like went off to see my mom in Connecticut. Was hanging with her for a while with my girl, and just like then I got back to the city. Was doing I'm still just building guitars and working with these guys. So I was happy to get back in the room with them. Like we all got tested towards the beginning of COVID at first, and just to make sure that we're all safe to like get into a room together. And then we just kind of shacked up, and that's how we've been getting music done. Shack it up.
Yeah, man. And I could see you spreading love with your eyes everywhere you go.
You got to do it, man. It's like one of the only things we got left right now.
For sure. Now, you guys just performed Slay at Home Fest, the Metal Injection Slay at Home Fest, which kind of ties into what I was talking about with Phil, because people are still recording, they're still playing music, they got to find a way. We got to get creative. So, maybe you guys could talk about what that was all about, and Slay at Home Fest, I know, is still up on the Metal Injection YouTube. You want to talk about who else played, what that was like, what songs did you guys play? Get into it a little bit.
Man, that was a really, really fun event. We went in hard for that one. We when we got back here, we were like, okay, so the world is shut down. What are we gonna do? Let's work on some stuff that we know well, some stuff that we do well. Let's get a recording of it, a new one, a different version of it, something a little fresher, but same track, just a little more spice, a little bit different.
Yeah.
I think Justin's got some.
I'm in. I'm ready to play. I think it was a good opportunity to get Philippe, his presence in the band that wasn't, outside of playing live. And, what he's added to the band since he's come in was obviously style and steez, but having the vocals and harmonies that we didn't have on the songs that we performed were from the first record, and it didn't have the harmonies. And we came in and kind of reworked some of our old songs, like how can we juice this up? How can we make it a little funner for everybody and involve Philippe a little bit more? And a lot of that was getting some harmonies over things and kind of like really diving in, make it a little more interesting. It's like if you're going to play the same songs for years, you might as well make it as fun as possible. So we kind of came in to really see what we can do and kind of not change the songs, but see how we can evolve them, especially with Philippe in the mix. So we did that and started, messing around with songs, and then we got to, we were like, let's record this because this is the way that it's going to be. Set up some cameras, see how it looks, get a good vibe. And then, it just so happened to be that, being a fan of Metal Injection and having that opportunity just kind of lined up, and it was pretty rad. So we were fortunate enough to have somebody interested to want to watch and want to listen. And, it was pretty grateful to be a part of that for sure.
Yeah, shout out to Frank and Metal Injection for sure. And yeah, and I love we'll get into like sort of the like the how everybody came together, because I know Philippe is the newest member, and he adds so much vocally, which you can hear in that performance. But right before COVID, you guys, it must have been cool because you went out with a pretty dope show right before this went down. You opened up for Today's the Day and The Obsessed. That must have been a really cool show to play right before this whole mess. Want to talk about what that was like?
Definitely. If you could have told us before, they're like, hey, quick, get in a rad show because shit's about to, go down. Like, all right, rad. Been a fan of Today's the Day for a long time. I feel like, they've been around for 75 years or something like that. But they've always been relevant and always pushed the boundaries. And I think it's, that's an impossible thing to stand the test of time and still do things that are true to their art form. And I think aside from that, the show was at Market Hotel, and we'd never played there. And I feel like it's if anybody's ever been there or seen a show there, it seems like a very New York experience. The trains running in the background. It's like right on the Myrtle Broadway, and it seems like a scene on a Ninja Turtles or something.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. Go Ninja, go! Like Vanilla Ice would probably be playing there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that venue because of the visual, and it's like it's very raw. Yeah. Did you guys film that show? Somebody taped that show too, right?
We filmed it, and the footage was great. Mike Dimmitt filmed that. Footage was great. Audio from the board, not so great. So it's hard to capture the moment while you're in the moment playing the song, but we do a lot of that kind of stuff ourselves. Slay at Home, we recorded ourselves. Trials and Tribulations with that, couple great takes ruined by the phone not being on or recording but that show was rad. I agree. Great show to go out on. I guess we would love to do more like that. So.
Yeah, and at least we have the Slay at Home footage for anybody that wants to watch a live show while they're sitting at home, and hopefully there'll be more stuff coming out. But let's talk about the Brooklyn metal scene, because St. Vitus is a Brooklyn metal venue. You guys are a Brooklyn metal band. The scene obviously is pretty incestuous. Everybody's been in someone else's band or played together in some capacity. Let's go down the line a little bit because, since I have you in front of me, Phil, you were in Grandfather and Family. Family probably is a little more relevant to Somnuri. I mean, you guys were on, you were on Prosthetic Records, and it had members of Beast Modulus. So talk about that, and then how Somnuri came to be.
Family was like the first real band I was in New York, and like pretty proggy, heavy breakdowns, really fun stuff to play on drums. Could flex a little bit, do some more chopped type stuff that I don't normally do.
There you go.
And that was a Craigslist band. That was my end result with Craigslist artist ads, or whatever you want to call that scene. It was a lot of terrible encounters before that band, and thankfully I met those guys, really cool dudes, and made some cool music. And then I kind of moved on to Grandfather and did more of a post rock, more rock kind of thing. And then I craved more heaviness again. So that led to a couple other projects. And then finally I met Justin, kind of a adjacent practice space kind of thing. I was just playing some drums. He's writing riffs. We heard each other through the wall. And it was
the Run DMC Aerosmith.
Yeah, exactly. I knocked a couple times, and he knocked back the same pattern. So it was match made.
Very romantic. Very romantic.
Yeah. It was bromantic.
It's bromance. And then Justin was in a bunch of bands too. Justin, you were in Blackout playing bass before. That's how I met you. There's probably a bunch of other bands you were in before that, but that's the one I remember. And Prostitution is current. You're playing drums in, but so like, why don't you talk about where you came from? And because this is interesting, because you're coming into a band where you're the primary songwriter and you're the front man, which is not what you've done before.
No, I played drums in a few other bands, first starting with this band called Wizardry, which was theatrical metal band, kind of a new wave British heavy metal kind of jump off, which I was pretty, I'm not really familiar with so much, but it was a lot of fun, dressed up like wizards. Who doesn't love that? And, you know, towards the end of that, I kind of started, I'd always play guitar and, but was ugly enough to play drums. So I felt like that was one of those things like, hey. But no, it's like, you know, in New York, there's millions of guitar players. Every band needs a drummer. And just kind of like, well, I just love playing drums. I lived in Boston for a while before. And I first moved to New York, started playing drums with Wizardry. That lasted a few years and had started kind of helping write songs with guitar.
Okay.
And then once that band kind of ended, simultaneously I was playing with this band called Bezor. Very weird, out there, noisy, drug prog doom, if you will, you know. And, you know, kind of the same thing that ran its course. We're still great friends, great music. And then around that time, the Christian Gordy and Taryn Waldman had started Blackout. I was like, man, I've never played bass in a band. Like, what if I just got super high and just played like super low bass and just, you know, and that was rad. It was a bunch of fun. And it really was around the time when, you know, Phil and I had practice space with shared walls. And I'd hear him playing drums, hear riffs, and be like, dude, I've been wanting to start a band since I was 12. Like, would you, you know, indulge me and throw some grooves to these ideas that I have? Yeah. You know, and it was really pretty as simple as that. Like, you know, I guess he liked the grooves enough to not leave.
He said yes.
He said yes.
Well, I mean, you guys are both drummers, which is interesting. Do you find that I would imagine that's a positive thing. I know what that's like. I think it's probably really cool that you guys can talk on the same level and figure out, you know, percussively when you're creating what direction you go in.
Yeah, and I think more importantly, Phil is also an excellent guitar player and songwriter. So I think we flip-flop, you know, be like, dude, I'm really feeling this drum pattern or this groove or this idea. And the same with him is he'll be like, you know, maybe this riff needs to go longer, or, you know, I could pass the guitar to him and he'll be like, you know, I need a pick scrape here, you know.
Right.
Or a Zach Wild Scooby-Doo or something, you know. But no, I think it is one of those things where we know he's a much more musician, well-rounded musician, and knows what he's talking about, where I just have to make noises with my mouth.
Right.
But it is one of those things where, you know, we can pass those ideas back and forth pretty fluidly, and it, you know, we kind of speak the same language a little bit.
In terms of like, so I want to talk about like what your vocals and your guitar playing a little bit, and then kind of pass off to everybody, because you have a pretty melodic sense of, you know, harmony when you sing at certain points, and then obviously there are some seriously brutal parts, but at the same time, it's not like you know, that's been done before, but you do it in a way that I think is very much not your standard fare of like singing to screaming kind of stuff. Like, what are your favorite vocalists, and maybe you could talk about like where your lyrical inspiration comes from?
Thank you. It's hard because, I mean, I feel like, you know, we grew up in kind of the heyday, I think, in terms of the great crossover of heavy singer-songwriters that blended into metal. I think for me personally, Chris Cornell is like, he's just the best. You know, he's got a really gnarly scream, but such an incredible, beautiful voice. R.I.P. That for me, like, I think it took me a while to realize how much I maybe stole or bit from that style. Even though he wasn't like guttural, brutal shit,
Sure, yeah.
he's got such a bark, you know, and he really seamlessly blends that beautiful singing thing into a really harsh style. So I think that to me, it speaks a lot. And I didn't know it until maybe a few years ago, really like starting this band and trying to find my own voice. I've been like, damn, Chris Cornell's the best. You know?
I mean, dude, he is one of the best singers to ever grace a microphone. I think that's, you know, probably something no one would argue. And I always say this too. I talk about this in like some other episodes, like genres and stuff. Like grunge had a lot of bands that were actually, in many people's opinion, they were just metal. I mean, like Soundgarden is totally a metal band. So is Alice in Chains, and so is the Melvins. You know, there were a few that weren't, but like those bands were absolutely metal bands.
Yeah, even though they weren't doing blast beats, they were heavy as shit.
Sure,
you know, and still like, you know, I consider Chris Cornell to be like my generation's version of a Robert Plant or something. You know, like I wasn't alive to see him wail, but you know, Chris Cornell is that person for me of like that all the way up, kind of like, God, how is this possible?
Oh my God, yeah. Some of the notes that guy hit. I could talk about that forever, and I'll try not to go off on that. We could save that for our personal time. But lyrically, where are you kind of coming from? Because, you know, like the reason I'm asking that is because like some metal bands, especially like power metal, you're kind of getting into like kind of Megan stuff, you know, all the fantasy stuff. I know you're not singing about shit that Stryper's singing about. So what are you singing about? You know, where's
God, chicks, no, no. You know, our first record was kind of all over the place. Just, you know, really kind of trying to find, I don't know, what are we talking about? You know, I think it's easy to sing about, you know, especially living in New York, of like, today was hard, I almost got run over, whatever. But the newest record that we made that's not out yet, I think really kind of is a little more thematic. I've suffered from sleep paralysis pretty much my whole life, and never really knew it until I read about it. I was like, holy shit, I have that like, I don't know, 3-4 times a week. Yeah. And so that was kind of more the content lyrically for this record, and kind of thematic. Definitely not a concept, but it was definitely, you know, every song just kind of seemed to come up in the back of like, God, this is kind of about like being stuck and not being able to grasp or have control over a situation, and almost being nightmarish. And I think everybody can identify with that sort of thing throughout their life, whether it's addiction or a breakup, or, you know, you got sneezed on the subway or some shit, you know. You know, it really, you know, it's all encompassing, you know. It's not super detail oriented and specific. Yeah, worse than a breakup is being sneezed on the subway.
Yeah.
Ugh. Somebody eating Chinese food.
I mean, who would have thought that your life would be threatened by someone sneezing on you? But here we
Especially
are.
now. Yeah. No, I stopped licking subway poles for sure.
No, man. I mean, that's interesting, because it's just like you said, it's probably not by design, but it's just a reoccurring theme that you notice, which is cool. It's kind of like, again, like or especially like anything organic or authentic, and you just kind of notice it after the fact. But because the band is, you've been in a bunch of different types of bands, like they're like to an extent, you know, Blackout was kind of like a doomy band that kind of had like, I don't know, I don't want to call it a party band, but it definitely could be like a, you know, it was a throwback kind of thing, and this is a darker band.
Yeah, it was very much keep it simple, let's not try too hard, and you know, I mean it in the most sincere and sweetest way, that it was like, let's be fucking stupid, and you know, pound a shit ton of beers, smoke a bunch of weed, play a super low note, and just jam to it. And it was a ton of fun. I think for me, it helped take down the serious level of playing music, of like, let's just, I mean, everybody started probably the same way of, let's just play and have fun and see what happens. And that was a really fun ride. But I think it kind of propelled me to now to have an idea of like, I'd rather be a little more serious and kind of have some focus and direction, and like really write songs that mean something to me, and play music with people where we challenge each other, you know, and you know, going back to some of the lyrics, you know, Phil helps out a ton in terms of like, what are these lyrics actually? Are you saying anything? Or are you just fucking screaming like a caveman? Let's really refine this shit and like figure out what it is that you're trying to say. And I think it is important, you know, and I think as a band, we've all found the ability to check ourselves and to be able to constructive criticism is important. And I think we're pretty good at that. Nobody's too butthurt over anything.
What about like in terms of like your guitar playing, because you are also doing a lot of interesting stuff. It goes from like you know, pretty spacey stuff to pretty brutal breakdowns, but also kind of traditional metal, almost Viking style kind of shit at times. You know, it kind of takes you on a trip. Where are you drawing some of your musical inspirations there?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it really is like, I don't particularly try to achieve anything. When you know, I'll come in by myself and just play, and sometimes I'll be here because we're in the space right now. If you've seen this guy, look at this. That thing's pretty wild, huh? You know, I'll come in and just try and just play around, and sometimes it's a little more focused than others. Sometimes just like, holy shit, these couple chords work together really well. I bet Phil could throw down some nasty shit to this. And there's not much of an inspiration in terms of like how to write a Somnuri song. I would say 90% of the time it's just like a happy accident of like, oh, that's cool. And it is kind of one of those things where it's like, I just want to like impress my bandmates, be like, I hope Phil likes this. I bet Philippe's gonna be like, oh snap, or something. Like, you know,
no, that's amazing, because I mean, I don't think that when Rush got into you know, finding their sound, that they were, I mean, I know for sure they were inspired by bands like Yes, which they've mentioned in many interviews, but at the same time, like, they're probably trying to inspire each other and challenge each other and be like, check this out, and they found their sound. So I think that I can kind of tell that anyway from listening to you guys, because I've listened to your other bands, and it seems like this is where you kind of hone it in to like really challenge each other. You know what I mean? Like, musically, you can tell.
For sure.
With that, let me ask Philippe the same question, because he was in. Philippe, what's up, baby?
How you doing, man?
You came into the band after the first record. I shout out to Drew, obviously, who was in the band.
Yeah, man.
Drew from Hull, great musician, awesome.
Drew the Mac. Drew the Mac. It's on to the Mac.
Yes, but you add a lot to the band live, vocally, and you were playing in Tower. That's where I first heard of you. Which is, shout out to Sarah Beth. I got to get her on here sometime. But
everyone else in that band.
Yeah, man, Jeff Filmer.
Jeff Filmer, dude, fucking love that dude. So yeah, Jeff recorded our first album anyway. That Justin was on. This guy, I don't know where he went. He disappeared. Oh, there he is. So yeah, Tower was a lot of fun. I mean, I grew up in this city, right? So like, I've been playing in all of the bands, and like all of the genres, like just doing so much stuff. I met as far as metal goes, what is happening? As far as metal goes, I met Danzo in a different band that we were in beforehand, and he was like, started this new band. What happened? Okay, so we were in this band together, and it was slowing down, or it had stopped or something. He was playing with Sarah Beth, and they were doing a cover show at Otto's Shrunken Head one night, and I brought one of my homies with me to go see Danzo shred. I was like, you got to see this dude shred. He's sick. So we go to Otto's Fucking Head. And was it Otto's? I'm pretty sure it was. I could be wrong. I don't know. That was a very long time ago. So he's like playing this show, and this lady, this woman is just like belting it, just like crushing these vocals so hard. And I was like, oh fuck. I want to be in a band with them. But she's definitely a bassist, and I'm only good for bass at this point, so maybe never. One thing led to another, and they needed a bassist for their new project that they were. Did they have the name? Oh, they had so many names for Tower, that is. I think Zach was in the band as well. Dog was one of the names of the band at some point, dude. I don't know. Anyway, so like Danzo hits me up because we were in this prior band together, and he was like, hey man, like, wow, we're looking for someone on bass. I was like, fucking, this is my chance, I'm doing it, right? So like I hopped in. We get to practicing, everything's going well, whatever. Our first drummer is the sweetest man alive. Miss that dude, but he became a dad, and he, you know, he was shifting his focuses from music to family life, and like that's super rad, very respectable. You know, it was awesome. We were like searching for drummers. We played with a bunch of people, and then like Justin shows up.
Oh right, Justin played drums in the band for a little bit.
Power.
Yeah.
He did indeed. So like he shows up one night, like I think we had practice maybe. Something was weird. Either I was out of town or I was in Paris. I was in Paris? Cool. I was in Paris, which sounds really cool. Sweet little flexing got going on there. Thanks, Justin. And apparently like they had practiced with some other drummer that night. They were trying someone out. And like Justin came up, they were, I guess, I don't know how you know them, but y'all were homies somewhere. So you were at this bar together. The story that I was told was like, yeah, everyone was getting super shit-faced. And Justin's like, so you guys need a drummer, right? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, let's go in and practice right now. And they're like, what? Like, we're all wasted, dude. He's like, yeah, let's do it. Like, oh, okay. So they all hopped in the studio and got to shredding. And I come back from Paris, and we got this like crazy caveman dude fucking slaying these drums. Like the kit is just falling apart every time he plays.
I think the moral here is that you can't escape Justin if you're in the metal scene.
No, if you're playing music out here in Brooklyn, you can't escape him.
Yeah, and I see him on his bicycle everywhere I go too. So he's part of the city.
Dude, he's just crushing the town, dude, all day.
Well, but Tower is a very much like Tower is a kind of a party band in a way. Certainly more than Somnuri, but it's still metal. And like you said, I mean, anybody watching this, if you don't know Tower already, you got to check them out. There's a lot of videos of Tower playing at Vitus on YouTube. But like, what was it like going into a band that's not a party band? Because I know your other band, Advertisers. Shout out to Acacia. I know her as well. These are bands where you kind of are, surrounded in more of like a crazy party atmosphere, and then Somnuri is way more dark and involved, and all great stuff, but very different. What's that like for you, sort of getting into that space?
Well, for me, it's a lot of fun because like the reason, like one of the biggest reasons I hopped in and started filling in for Somnuri was Justin. When I'd seen them play a bunch, you know what I mean? Like I gave Justin a baritone guitar because he was having fun down tuning regular guitars and having them sound all right, but like could be better. And I was like, this could be better. And he's like, what? Yeah, all day, dude. Got to do it. So, I'm in all these party bands having a great time, jumping around, crowd surfing, whatever. And it's a lot of fun, and I love playing in, like, all of those bands. It's a good time, you know what I mean? Like, I like being able to pull from different places when I'm playing music, and I like being able to move around on stage. So this band, on the other hand, just was like, yeah, dude, it's like I'm just writing a bunch of songs I don't know how to play yet. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, I just have all these guitar riffs that like I gotta learn. I'm trying to like level up. I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to get serious. And I was like, dude, what? This is sick. So like I gave it, a more thorough listen, and I was like, I don't understand what the fuck's happening. This is gonna be a lot of fun to learn how to do. And it is. It always is. Since I'm not on the recordings for the first two albums, one of which that is not out. We are, yeah, now. And when I first came into the band, right, the second album was done. To I don't know, it was done, right? So I was learning 2 albums worth of music that was, for me, at the time, just impossible to even, like, try to conceive and understand. But that was a lot of fun. Like the challenge of like trying to learn all this shit was so cool, man. It was so cool.
Yeah, I mean it's complicated music, and you're singing too at the same time. You know, that's
I am now. Like I had to learn how to play it first, man. Singing was whew.
Yeah, that's got to be cool though. I like that you have like a foot in two different projects, and one is more of like a New York City rock and roll vibe, and the other one is, you know, straight up, you know, I'm saying straight up metal, but it's really kind of got a lot of different elements going on. While I have you though, you know, something interesting happened to you that I already know about, but like maybe you could talk about, because it helped to bring some attention to the band recently, where you were kind of just like doing your thing, walking around New York City, sitting on a bench, and this video went viral on Instagram because some guy was fucking drawing you or some shit. Want to talk about that for a sec?
Yeah, that was hilarious, man. I was just like leaving my girl's place, like heading back to the city from Crooklyn, and just chilling on the subway. It's like 2, 3 in the morning or something probably, and I'm like sitting there, like kind of on my phone, just chilling, whatever, like looking at Instagram, like I don't know, playing like games or something, watching Age of Quarantine, and this dude sort of like walks in front of me, like walks by, you know, it's an empty subway platform. I don't know where this dude's going. He was like chilling on a post like over there for the 15, 20 minutes. And then he just like gets up, walks over, grabs a poster, like one of the posters that's like, oh, the A train will be running on, you know, not between this place and this place from like 9:45 a.m. till fucking January. And I was like, okay. So he takes it off the post and walks back over to where he was standing and puts it back up there. And I was like, dude, what in the fuck what is he doing? Like, and I saw him take his phone out to take a photo. I was like, all right, cool. He's like letting his homie know that like the trains are running late. He's going to be late to wherever he's going at this fucking ungodly hour. So I go back to just chilling, and then I look up and he kind of has his phone pointed at me. And I was like, what the fuck? All right, well, it's New York. People are making memes out of everything. You got to laugh. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to make a meme out of me, I hope it makes your friends laugh. It's going to be a good time. And then like 2 weeks later, my girl hits me up. Also, my friend Danielle, who did actually the cover for our upcoming album.
Oh, awesome.
Album cover. That's what it's called. Dude, thank you, man. I'm just everything. iTunes picture? Oh, okay. What? So yeah, Danielle, fucking phenomenal artist. She hit me up about it, but I'm not on my phone all that often. So I got it from my girl, who was like, hey, this is you. Like, you're in this video of this dude drawing you. And I was like, what? So like I check it out, and I was like, dude, this is so sick. I gotta hit him up. So I did, and he didn't really respond to me for a while because he was blowing up at the time, right? So like he must have been getting DM after DM with people like, oh shit, you sick now. And I was like, this is rad, dude. So he like gets in contact, and I was like, dude, hey, I want to buy this, like, you know, this drawing off of you. Like, I'm, you know, this is the work you're doing is amazing. He's been drawing people in the subway, just kind of like sitting down in any subway situation. Like, I was on a platform that time. He does it with people that are sitting across him on the train most of the time. And his drawings are really, really good. Like, usually on notebooks and stuff like that, but he did one on that poster, you know. And then he did another one on, he just painted it directly onto one of the other things. I don't know, man. His work's awesome.
Oh, shit, man.
Yeah.
And but also the main thing that happened was that it got 5.1 million views.
What? Yeah. So dude, the first video of him like actually drawing me, it's really cool. Like, you see that he has his camera facing me, his phone, and then like 500. That's what the M stands for 100 in 5 minutes of views. Yeah, 5 minutes of views, dude. So that video apparently was like, Instagram decided like, hey, you know what? This is a really cool thing that happened. This kid is doing some really amazing art. We're gonna post about it. So I think they featured it on their, like, I don't know, whatever page on their Reels page that like everyone kind of sees if you're scrolling through Reels. Kind of the way TikTok works as a For You page. You just see this thing. It got 5 million views, man. Like, by the time I saw it, and now it's like going up there. You know what I mean? It keeps growing.
It's so cool because it got. I just know that it helped the band out a little bit, or you know, maybe not just.
Well, it eventually did, because we ended up doing another video last week, I think, where we were in contact with each other. It's like, hey man, like, let's meet up. I want to give you a print of the drawing. And I was like, oh, tight, dude. he ends up bringing the actual drawing, not just a print of it, because like, you know, he's a real artist, you know what I mean? So like you have to be able to have like versions of it for your archives and stuff like that. Like when you sell the work, you have like visuals and stuff for stuff like art base, whatever. So I thought he was just gonna give me a print of the thing. He gave me the actual drawing, man, and I was, oh, I'm still like, it's so cool.
So cool, man. Fucking rad.
Yeah. But yeah, he ended up tagging us and like throwing one of our songs into the video of us meeting up, which was super rad.
I love that. No, it's just cool because as a New Yorker, I love stories like that. And I also just think it's cool that it got the band some attention.
Yeah.
So with getting back to Somnuri, you guys did. We were talking about grunge bands before, and I had a tie-in because you guys just did a cover of Alice in Chains.
Oh, that was so cool.
Of Dirt, and it's fucking awesome. I think it's the most. It might be the most streamed song on your guys' Spotify right now. But one of you guys want to talk about how that came to be and what that release is all about, who's on it, etc.
Well, let's talk to the master of disaster and/or amazing edits and fucking recordings. We're gonna talk to Big Phil. Just kidding, it's me.
Oh shit.
You gotta record on your phone.
Dude, it took so long to come. Man. Freshly baked.
What was the question?
Oh no, I'm saying you guys. Speaking of grunge, before you guys did a cover of Alice in Chains' "Dirt," which is on a limited edition piece of vinyl out on Blues Funeral. You want to talk about who else is on that, where people could get it, how that all came to fruition?
Magnetic Eye. It came out on Magnetic Eye Records. Yeah. Dude, great bands on it. It was fucking awesome to be a part of it. They asked us to do it, and we said, all right, let's tackle a song. We didn't have many to choose from at the point that they asked us. So yeah, we had Dirt, and I think we did a pretty, authentic version of it. Yeah, recorded ourselves, mixed it ourselves, and yeah, we try to do as much of that as we can on our own, because it allows for us to do take after take, not be limited by time, studio resources. But yeah, it was super fun and super.
It came out amazing. Who else is on that? Who else is on that?
Thou, bunch of good bands. Chemists. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but it's Low Flying Hawks. Like every single band's version was either unique or more authentic, and it was a good mix of that. And I think it makes for a good album instead of just a good song by song thing. But Magnetic Eye has a great knack for capturing that audience, and yeah, it was well received.
Yeah,
really fun to be a part of.
You guys are, like you said, you're very self-sufficient in terms of getting shit done yourselves. You have a record that's not out yet, but I've heard songs on it, and you want to talk about that record that you're sitting on? Hopefully, we'll see it in 2021. Like, what do you feel you were able to accomplish on this next record as a progression from the last one?
Well, the production qualities is better. We like I said, we record and mix ourselves for now, and it allows us a lot of freedom with tracking, especially. We tracked both records at Studio G with Jeff Burner.
Jeff Burner,
yeah, great place to record. So we recorded both albums. We recorded the drums both times there, and then we track everything else in our space. Track all the guitars here, the bass here, the vocals here. I don't know if you can hear the band that's playing right now, but it's pretty loud.
I can.
So you can't. All right, good.
It's a shitty Misfits cover band. It sounds like. I thought we could escape it this year without Halloween happening, but you can't escape a shitty Misfits cover band. They're awesome, by the way.
So it's tricky to record vocals in here sometimes because of that. So it's oftentimes late night sessions, and Yeah, it's fun. I'm not the best engineer, but it's like I said, we don't have that rush to perform in the studio on the spot, and
Yeah,
capture that, that one performance. We can kind of like do what we can, and then we listen back and we're like, you know what? That wasn't the day. Let's go try that again. And it feels really good to not have the time restraint, even though I usually have to do the drums in 1 or 2 days. So it's like that's the only real restraint is like get the drums done, and then we're like free to experiment. So
absolutely. Yeah, I'm
um,
pumped on the new record. I can't wait for people to hear it.
cool, man. Yeah, I mean, we remixed and remastered it this year because we were gonna put it out, and then we were like, what the fuck? Let's make it sound better. Like I said,
Yeah.
I'm not a professional engineer by any means. I just watch a shit ton of YouTube videos, and I have a really good mix coach, I call him. This guy, Justin Mantooth at West End Recording Studios in Kansas City. He recorded Family, recorded a bunch of bands, metal bands in Brooklyn. Great ear for heavy shit, and I feel really good working with him. He mastered the record, and he's like the most brutal person as far as like telling me when the mix isn't good enough. And it's like I feel like I need that, so it's cool to have someone who's like, nope, try it again, and like just totally honest, and so that prompted since we had downtime, prompted us to remix, remaster, and feel like we came out with something cool and want to release it like yesterday, but gotta
Pretty
ride
cool
the
that
wave.
it's a good advantage that you had to work on it during this time, obviously. Um, yeah, I wanted to also just talk about, obviously like the absence of live music because we are in quarantine. So you've been creative and you've tried to work on this record that hopefully will come out. But let's talk about like some favorite shows at St. Vitus because we're on the St. Vitus channel. I know you guys have played there a bunch, but you guys want to go around and talk about like either a favorite show you've played there, either it could have been in Somnuri or one of your other bands, and then maybe talk about maybe a favorite show that you saw there.
Um, there was this band, Light Spots, Spotlit. Uh,
Three good spots.
no, the show with you guys, Spotlights, was awesome. We've had some great shows at Vitus. I think we've all played Vitus more times than we can count with all of our
We
bands.
don't know each other though. We never met before this. We don't know each other.
Yeah, right. Well, I feel like we've all played so many shows there that I feel like we would mix up which bands played on the bill or which band we played with.
Yeah.
But as far as shows I've seen there, Dillinger is my favorite show that I was present for. Just seeing them in that kind of place. I had never seen them in a not small, but mid-level size place, and the energy is just amazing. Every Time I Die. Who else? Just but Dillinger was my favorite. I'll pass it
It was
on.
a classic show. Yeah.
Yeah, were you there?
Yes, it was. Yeah,
Cool.
it was unbelievable.
Yeah, I saw him. Were you at Terminal? One of the.
I was at every Terminal show and at the Vitus show. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Love me some Dillinger. I'm gonna pass it around.
All right.
Chris!
Question is, any memorable shows you got to play,
Uh,
whether it was with Somnuri or any of your other bands, or
it's not a spotlights dick sucking thing, but that show really was. I think really it was different for us because I feel like we were just starting to get into our own, and knowing you and Mario and Sarah too, and like I think you guys had just come off the road maybe, and there was this kind of thing of like looking up to you guys and seeing like, man, how much you guys had evolved and progressed and like really honed your sound. And it was kind of one of those things like we were fortunate enough to be on the bill. I think it was like June or July. It was hot as shit or whatever. And it was one of those things that we didn't have a show around that, so we could really hone in and focus on what we've been trying to do vocally, just the whole set list and everything. So for that, I think that's got to be up there, because it was not only seeing ourselves progress, but seeing you guys progress, and the whole show sounded great, and it was just such a great vibe throughout the entire night. That for me is up there. One show I played with the band I played in, Bezor, we had opened up for Yob, and Hall. Hall played, I think that was 2012, 13, I don't know. I don't even know what century it is right now. But seeing Yob, it was a 2-night thing. I think we're the second night of 2, and seeing Yob play, I think they played the Unreal That Never Lived the whole way through. I'm not sure. But it really was seeing them like completely decimate St. Vitus. And I had seen them before at the Bell House in Brooklyn. And that was like a religious experience. I was super duper high. It was I think I was on mushrooms a little bit. But seeing them at Vitus being pretty sober and like 6 feet away, it was like, man, these guys are human beings just like me.
Yeah.
And to see them like Mike Scheid, it's like the most genuine dude out there, just enjoying the process, and it really seemed like he felt very much at home at St. Vitus. He was like, man, I can't believe this place feels like home to me. I can't believe he feels that at home too. We're sharing a space. This is great.
I gotta say that I was at some of those shows, and it is a religious experience. And I should have mentioned, I do hear a little Yob in your music too, vocally and guitar wise. Yeah. I mean, hey, I fucking, it was a religious experience just seeing them. I think the name of the song is Marrows, but they fucking killed it. And I remember a girl next to me crying during the show.
Totally.
Like
I'd seen Yob last year at the Warsaw, and it was on my birthday, and I probably cried when they played that song.
Oh, that was at that show, man. I was fucking, I
think I was crying on some large Polish dude's back. This hairy bit just fucking crying. I fucking love you, dude. Yeah.
Get off me. I'm trying to eat this pierogi, man. Come on, bro.
Hey, get off my pierogi back. Kielbasa.
Yeah.
But those few particular shows, and when Tower played with Dave Mustaine's wine reveal show.
I set that. I booked that show.
I totally forgot about that. That wasn't another Chris Enriquez shout out, but I guess so.
Well, that was the Megadeth beer, and he was bartending.
The Tour de Mont, I think it was.
Yeah.
He's way more French than I am. That was awesome, because I got to have Dave Mustaine serve me a beer. It's like, it's like asking God to serve you a taco or something, I want the shrimp, But that was awesome, and I think we took a bottle of their wine, or what? We took a bottle of their beer, wine, or whatever, and I also got one of their hats.
That's awesome, man. Hell yeah.
That's
so
it.
Fun.
Yeah.
Philippe has played there a million times. I've seen Philippe there play a million times at St. Vitus. Let's get his.
Yeah, dude. Like for me, it's hard to think about like a show that I love. Like the one Justin was talking about was fucking amazing. But again, like it was more about the moment than it was about the show type of thing. You know what I mean? Like I've had so many good moments at St. Vitus. Like just like learning a bunch of like new things about all these new bands that were coming in. One of my friends would take me to all the weird like death metal festivals that they'd have there, which is like super sick. I get to see all these bands. It's more music that I don't understand, but like love. You know what I mean? Like I have a really good time. You're like, yeah. It's true, man. But like, yeah, for me, it's all the moments, man. Like being in the, in the green room in the basement, just hanging out with everyone. You know what I mean? Like, so I have this ring. I have many rings. I have this ring that has this like jangly thing on it, right? And people are like, oh, that's really cool, right? So this jangly thing was like from some weird dude. Fucking peanut gallery over here. getting echoes at that. Come on. Yeah, so some weird dude was like, yeah, I make sweet chain wallets, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, dude, I want a free chain. He's like, tight. And he just disappears. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And I noticed he had like one link on the ground. And I was like, sick, dude. I'm taking your fucking, getting my own chain link. So I threw in my ring and people love it. I don't know, man. But like, yeah, Vitus is a place where it's like, it feels like, for a while, it felt like home. Just being graced by being in Tower was a thing where like we played Vitus a lot.
Yeah. That's how I was surprised because you and I had met a few times, but not really spent too much time with each other. But I've seen you there a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've seen you there a million times.
Yeah, absolutely. That it's when you just talked about the green room. It's just fucking. It's so sad to me to just not have that be a part of my life right now, and I'm sure that feels the same way for everybody. To just walk into St. Vitus, that familiar smell. Good or bad, there's a familiar Vitus smell, and then getting off the stage all sweaty and going downstairs to hang out with your homies. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's the best.
Absolutely.
It's the best, man. Like, even when I'm not playing a show there, I'll just go down there and just see who's hanging out. Yeah.
Well, we're coming to the end here of this hour, but I'm glad that we got to at least tap into that a little bit because St. Vitus is a special place for Brooklyn metal and for all types of bands, not just metal bands. But yeah, guys, maybe there'll be a live stream with you guys at St. Vitus. Who knows? We'll figure it out.
Oh, that'd be rad.
That would be rad.
Yeah, dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Missed that stage.
You guys want to give any final shout outs or announcements or things you want people to know about before we say goodbye?
Dude, thank you to you, St. Vitus.
Angel Wings, Touched by an Angel.
Thank you, Vitus, for having us.
Yeah, man. Appreciate everybody checking us out. Go check out the last Slay at Home thing. Everybody hang in there. We're going to get through this. Metal's going to help it all. Shred your face. That's it.
Absolutely. And this whole episode is going to be on the St. Vitus channel if people didn't get to watch it live, if they tuned in too late. Justin, you look fantastic. Even though
he smells fantastic too. Tell you what.
It's raining.
Well, it's tough to compete with Felipe with all the bling that he has going on and the love in his eyes. But what are you gonna do? All right, boys. Thanks for doing this. I'll see you guys.
Thanks for having us, man.
Check out Phil.
Peace
Check
out.
out Phil.
Peace out.
There it is. Peace, dude.
Later, brothers. All right.